Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. Coming to you from the Tommy John home studios. Glad to have you with us. We're going to do best bets for Friday, March 28th in the association. We'll give you sides. We'll give you totals. We'll give you props. We'll give you all sorts of stuff here on Buckets, your NBA betting buddy. We're just we're your buddies, and we're here to help you bet. Another B words that have alliteration. Make sure to check out youtube.com/the Action Network. I'm joined tonight by Bryan Fonseca. He's on Twitter at Bryan Fonseca NY and on YouTube at Bryan Fonseca. He's got shows based off of combat sports. He does a show on the Knicks for the New York Post, whose name I always forget. You can follow at New York at Bryan Fonseca NY. I've also got Kyle Murray from Roto Grinders, K-Mur DFS, KMURR DFS. It's a great handle, Kyle, honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I worked really hard on it.
Do you have a poster of, if you go to youtube.com/the Action Network, over your right shoulder? Who is that?
That's Steph. And then that's Tiger.
Is that a free Darko?
Like the artist?
Yeah.
Maybe. I got it a long time ago.
I know that artist. He did a book series. He worked with a site called Free Darko and did a series of prints. I have a bunch of them, so they're pretty awesome. Looks really good. Brian's like, the more you know. All right. You can catch Jim Turvey and Brandon Anderson on tomorrow's Futures episode if you want that. This is a best bets only episode. Let's get to it. We'll go around the horn. We will give our bets, and then we'll do the handicap on all of them. Also got Tommy John Ballsy Parlay for you tonight. Bryan Fonseca, what do you want to bet on Friday?
Naz Reid over 12.5 points, and Nick Richards over half an assist at plus 110. All we need is one. Nick Richards.
This is a very funny bet. I love this. Kyle, your best bets.
Yeah, that Richards prop reminds me of taking a quarterback for over half a rushing yard, something like Matthew Stafford, half a rushing yard. So that'll be a fun sweat. I got 2 player props, pretty thin pool right now for markets being open for props, but I got Devin Booker under 7.5 assists, and then Jordan Hawkins over 15.5 points.
All right. I will take Jazz plus 16.5 versus the Nuggets on principle. I will take the Bucks on the money line versus the New York Knicks plus 1 on principle. I will also take the Phoenix Suns plus 7.5. So we have lots of bets for you on the Wolves game. I actually have another one on Suns Wolves. I also like the over in that game as well. Okay. Let's do Suns Wolves because that's the one that we've got the most stuff on. Let's do that. All right. Let's start with Kyle because I'm really curious on this with where Devin Booker's been at and how he's been playing. And we always tend to like Devin over on assists for various situations. Why do you like his underplay on assists versus the Timberwolves on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic as of late. 3 straight games with 10-plus assists. But, when you look at the potential numbers, obviously last game was a big game in terms of potential assists. But against prior to that, 15 or 16 potential assists. So, that's it's a fine number, but not anything that's overwhelming for this sort of, 7.5 line, which is a massive line, by the way. And, he is deserving of that with his current assist rate with Bradley Beal off the floor. But, when you talk about the recency bias that's kind of being baked into this line, I think it's a good time to sort of now, fade and look at the under. And I do think, speaking of that recency bias, I do think a lot of people might assume that, okay, we're seeing massive assist rate jumps with Bradley Beal off the floor, but it's been pretty unchanged in that split. He's actually averaging the same amount of assists per minute with Bradley Beal off the floor compared to him on. So I think it is a good time to just kind of fade this number here. And again, it is a difficult matchup as well. When you look at this Timberwolves team, they're allowing the 4th fewest potential assists to opponents so far per game this season. So I am a little worried about the minutes here. I think this could be a game where obviously he plays a ton of minutes in a game that could stay close here, especially with you backing the Suns. But just in general, I think it's just a good time to sort of fade recency bias and take the under here on 7.5 assists, which is a big number. I am projected for about 6.8, 6.9 assists in this game. So I'll take the under here.
So they're going to play, obviously with Gobert, they're going to play drop defense and pick and roll situations. And one of the advantages that the Wolves are maybe the best in the league at this is they're so good at shrinking the floor and then timing it to read back out. The advantage of playing drop defense like Rudy Gobert does is you don't need to overhelp. Like you don't have to send guys on the back line because you've got that backline rim defense. So guys can take shorter steps in when they want to show versus a drive versus, say, Devin Booker, and then get back out to the shooters, because the Wolves very smartly under Chris Finch are kind of like, we'll live with it if you want to try and score 35, 40, 50 points on us in individual coverage, but we're not going to let you get everybody involved. We're going to shut down the entire team construct. Now, what was interesting also about this is last year, obviously, the Suns swept the season series versus the Timberwolves, and that's why everybody thought that they were going to kill them in that first round of the playoffs. We loved Wolves in that based on the idea of like, you know what, Chris Finch doesn't have to do this. And he kind of indicated in his talks that he doesn't have to do that. But guess what? This is not a playoff series. He will go back to base coverage. Like, Finch isn't going to do the same stuff that they did to them in that playoff series. He's going to go back to base coverage in this. And that actually, I think, it helps your prop here on the under with 7.5, because they're specifically going to leave more opportunities for Devin and KD to score and take less opportunities for the other guys to get open. So I like this play actually quite a bit the more I think about it. Bryan Fonseca, talk to me about Naz Reid.
Well, he hasn't shot well post All-Star break, but we have signs of life with his last two performances where he's showing that maybe the slump is over, making 8 of 13 last game, making 6 of 13 before that. But before that, those two games, he was shooting 39% post All-Star break. That was a 15-game stretch. Just not representative of who he should be. The three-point shooting was more worrisome. That was at 33. Now, hopefully, we're ticking back up. Last time they played against Phoenix, he went way under. He was also 3 for 15 shooting. So some of this is like, all right, the volume is still there, and the volume has been there, at least for 12.5, 13 points or something along those lines. And yes, he has had his explosive games. There's a 20-point performance recently. There's a 21 a couple games before that. And obviously the string of 20-pointers when Julius Randle was out. But really, it's volume. It's also Phoenix. Like, the matchup favorability there is also tantalizing. And 15 shots against Phoenix last game, again, when they were shorthanded. I don't know if he's going to get 15 in this one necessarily, but he does have 13 in each of his last two. You would figure, all right, if you're able to get 11, 12, 13 attempts, yes, he should be able to come through on this. You need that 3-point shot to fall. Lately, it's been falling a little bit more, especially these last 4 games, 3 of the last 4 games, really. So the signs are pointing up for Naz Reid, and maybe we'll get accustomed to, as the shooting bounces back, to seeing him get 15, 18, 14, 16, 20 more consistently and around that range, as opposed to the single-digit performances that we saw, over the last couple weeks.
I like this. So, Suns, interestingly, are actually only 16th in points in the paint allowed, but Naz does so much of his damage on those pick and pop sequences, and Nick Richards is going to leave him like wide the fuck open, just like wide open. Like, every time that he's in a small ball run, Naz is just going to get whatever he wants there, and they're actually going to play probably pretty far off of him. So I like this. Okay, so we've got Naz to score some points, and we got Devin to not generate as many assists, which would indicate theoretically less scoring for the Phoenix Suns. And yet, I love the Suns here. Let's just start with a good old fashioned hater trend. Let's just be petty. How about this one, fellas? When Bradley Beal plays for the Phoenix Suns this season, they are 21-27, 44% straight up, and 15, 32, and 1 against the spread for 32%. Now, those are not the season numbers for the Suns overall. Their overall numbers are better, which makes you wonder, what's it like when Bradley Beal, who's out with a hamstring strain, doesn't play for the Phoenix Suns? 14-11 straight up at 56%, 13-11-1 at 34% or at 54% against the spread. So they literally go from dog shit to pretty good when Bradley Beal just doesn't play. just doesn't play. That's all you're going to get here. I like this a lot. So, as I kind of mentioned, Suns go 4-0 last year versus the Wolves. And then they make all these adjustments in the playoffs. But again, they will just go back to that base coverage. They're not going to make a whole lot of adjustments here. So I actually like the Suns. The Suns have been playing better basketball. They've absolutely been playing better basketball. I talked about it a little bit the last couple of weeks. I actually think there's a chance that this team could wind up making the playoffs. It's very unlikely given a number of factors, but I actually would not be surprised if they snuck out. If they can get to the 9, I will like their chances to sneak into a playoff spot and knock one of those, the 6, 7, 8, who everyone agrees is way better. I actually think they're live to do that. That said, in this specific spot, I like them very much at this number. This is I understand it because the market is a little bit inflated. The power rating is inflated on the fact that the Suns have played for much of the back half of the season like they just want it to end, just shaking, just like that meme of Jim in the office. I just want it to end. That's what they look like. But I only make this Wolves -4. That's what all I can get to here, based off a full season power rating, and I don't see any reason why that should be. Even if you want to be like, okay, I think that's too low. Let's give them 2 points for the death of their souls and Kevin Durant's going to leave and yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's still 5.5. How are we getting to 7 here? How are we getting to 7 points here with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I think are very good, and I think they're going to get the 6th seed in the Western Conference, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won this game. At the same time, guess what? The Wolves at home this season are 39% against the spread. Don't ask me what the Suns are on the road. We're not going to talk about that. But the Wolves at home have been even worse. So I actually think this is a really good opportunity for us to get a inverse correlated parlay, which we can get really good numbers on with this approach. So if we take the Suns +7 at Bet365, we take Suns +7.5, actually, we can get the hook on it. If we take Naz Reid over on points, because I like that because I have this projected over. Both of these teams, the Suns are away and the Timberwolves on the road, or at home rather, are both over spots. So we've got a really good opportunity here to get in on that. If we take those plus the Booker assist, we get to a really good number, which I will tell you in just 1 second. I mentioned Tommy John off the top, right? We're coming to you for our Tommy John home studios. That's because great games start with great underwear, and Tommy John makes the greatest. It's been 80 degrees in Colorado. It's been absolutely phenomenal, but that also means that with my normal allotment of clothes right now that I haven't gotten out, I've been just absolutely hot as balls. And so it's been really great to wear Tommy John stuff. The t-shirt, the night pants, the pajama pants, and the underwear all breathe so well, keeps you cool, keeps you comfortable, keeps you secure. It's the best stuff you're going to find. When you're truly comfortable, you do everything better, and that includes betting. So if you love this Buckets podcast and you love our crew, you're going to love Tommy John. Get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/buckets. That's 25% at TommyJohn.com/buckets. Kyle, if we do that parlay, if we do Booker under assists, because he could still put up like a 40 bomb and just have 6 assists and be fine. Nas over 12.5 and Suns +7. That's a 3-leg parlay we can get +700 on the same game parlay at Bet365. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially with some of the juice that these books are making you pay these days. You mentioned it before we went live. You don't often find a 3-leg parlay that's giving you over +700. So I like that number quite a bit. And then to your point, we can easily see the Suns put up points with Devin Booker. Like you mentioned, going for 30, 40 points and getting the ball in the basket by his own accord and not necessarily too much production passing. So yeah, I like it quite a bit.
Brian, your thoughts?
Phoenix, who you mentioned, they've actually covered 8 of their last 12 games, and 4 of their last 6 on the road. And they've been one of the worst against the spread teams all season. I think only Philly right now is still currently worse, but Phoenix has been a lot better. And they were a team I've been looking to fade a lot in the second half, or I guess post All-Star break. And it did work out a little bit early on, and then they started hitting, and I was like, all right, I guess they're not that bad. But a lot of that probably correlates with, as you mentioned, Bradley Beal not being around. on a consistent basis. So I like it.
Yeah. All right. We're in on that as our Ballsy Parlay of the week, brought to you by Tommy John's. Brian, give me this Nick Richards over a half assist. The makeup pass Nick Richards challenge prop.
Nick Richards has played 30 games with the Phoenix Suns. 16 of them, he didn't get an assist. That's why this is plus 110. The case for him to get it is one, it's one assist. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like Kyle said, this is like betting Matthew Stafford over half a rushing yard. And then he has 2. And then he takes a knee. And then you go under anyway. That can't happen here. If you get the assist, you get the assist, unless they take it away, which has happened this season. But Nick Richards, believe it or not, people, he's gotten an assist in 3 of his last 4 and in 4 of his last 6 games. I'm not going to go like super statsy with it because I feel like that'd be stupid. We just need Nick Richards to fall into 1 assist, to pass the ball in a game that, Matt, you think is going over, to just hit somebody for a catch and shoot shot. And it's plus 110. And like, I understand they don't really use him as a hub. He's not anybody's Nikola Jokic or Arvydas Sabonis or Bam Adebayo or Alperen Sengun. But with the defensive pressure that Minnesota does like to apply, I do legitimately think like, okay, there could, and they'll leave him open. Don't get it twisted. But there could be room for, especially someone who's active on the glass, kick out to a shooter for 3, Grayson Allen, somebody. So Nick Richards, 1 assist. That is all I need on a Friday night. Just 1 assist.
Sounds like a lot to ask, honestly. You're asking for a lot here, Brian. That is the official Nick Richards make a pass challenge prop of the night. I have, by the way, an interesting one more trend to back the Suns here. I love these, which is, what's the record for teams after they face another squad? I like the idea of you played one type of game and it took something out of you, or it was so comfortable that you come back to earth, whatever it is. Pacers this season, after you play the Pacers like the Wolves did last, you wind up with 39, and if your opponent has faced the Pacers last, 39 and 31, 56%. So a good kind of note there on that one as well. All right, let's go to Jordan Hawkins over 15.5 points. Kyle, what do you like from the youngster here?
Yeah, real quick, I want to give the Nick Richards prop a little love, because I think with the matchup against the Timberwolves, we could see him play some more minutes. 2 games as a member of the Suns against the T-Wolves, 25 plus minutes in both of those games. So, I like the make a pass prop challenge here. So I'll back it there. For Jordan Hawkins, this number is only available on some small books like Sleeper and Underdog, and I'm assuming it'll come in at the same number on other books, but just kind of keep that in mind. It's at 15.5 on Underdog and Sleeper right now. If it comes in at 16.5, I still like that one on these bigger books, but 15.5 is where it's at right now. He missed the entire of the fourth quarter last time out, largely due to blowout and just bad performance. And while blowout is still a massive concern here, I believe it's a 13.5 point spread in this game against the Warriors, he's going to see a ton of usage in this spot. No CJ, Zion, Murphy, and obviously DeJounte Murray out as well. So in that split, 33% usage rate with all those guys off the floor in about 200 minutes, which is actually a pretty decent sample considering you're taking 4 or 5 guys off the floor. So that's pretty solid as well. And it sounds like we're also getting 15.5 at Fanatics. So that's a pretty solid book there as well. So 35% usage rate last game. Again, only played 24 minutes. Bad shooting performance, 4 for 14 from the field, 1 from 9 from 3. If he plays better, hits more shots, he likely sees more minutes. And in a world where he plays 28 to 30 minutes, I think he has a ceiling for 25 to 30 points, honestly. He's a guy that is not going to be afraid to shoot when he's on the floor. And if we do in the world see Steph Curry out for this game, we can see that spread tighten up a little bit, maybe give him a path to more minutes. So I like the over on 15.5 here for Hawkins.
Brian, you got thoughts on that one?
Hawkins pissed me off in fantasy too much with his inefficient shooting. So I don't know. I hope for Kyle's sake he doesn't go like 4 for 12 or something along those lines. It might be worse than that sometimes. But listen, I like Hawkins as a player. I don't really know what to make of the Pelicans at this point. He'll get shots up. So that's not really my concern there. It's just a matter of like, is he going to shoot 30% or is he going to be reasonably good from the field, efficient from the field? But he's certainly capable of doing this. Absolutely.
All right, 2 more. I'm gonna grab the Bucks here +1. I wanted the Bucks on Monday versus the Nuggets or Wednesday versus the Nuggets, and I said like, hey, you gotta wait for the injury report. Like, I wound up not betting it because I really thought Giannis was going to play. I thought that was just like, oh yeah, he's questionable, he'll wind up going. And they just sat him out for rest, and that's fine. But I do think that it was a rest spot and not necessarily a real injury spot here with this left foot sprain that he's dealing with. He's questionable again for this game. So I will once again tell you, wait. If Giannis is out, don't bet it. Like, it's fine. You don't no reason to bet it. I'm not going to like the number anyway. But if Giannis is in, if this is a halfway number, if they're like, yeah, he might play, he might not, and it's like, if this moves to Bucks -2, I can't get there. This should be, if Giannis plays, I make this 5. I make this Bucks -5. So considering I think he's going to play, I'm obviously going to say like I like this spot no matter what the number kind of settles at. So go ahead and wait, but I'll be on Bucks if Giannis plays. There's no reason for the Knicks without Jalen Brunson, despite being 6-5 straight up in ATS without Jalen Brunson this season. There's no reason for them to be 1-point favorites on the roads versus a Bucks team like this. Like, the Bucks are still a really good squad. Like, they hung with the Nuggets the other night without both the guys. Yes, Dame's out. The season isn't over. There's a lot of talk about Dame coming back. I think Giannis might play here. Even if Giannis plays, I'm trying to think about, let's say that they give him a full, that this is projecting him out, and they give him a full 6-point move, which I would be very, very surprised if that was how this was power rated. But let's say that was there. This only gets it to Bucks -5. Even though that's over my number, I would still be okay with it because I just don't like the Knicks in the matchup as well. Knicks have destroyed them in this matchup. I should note that. Like, the Knicks have absolutely killed them in this matchup this season, but that was with Brunson and Cat able to do the pick and roll. I don't like this version of New York, even though their defense has been a lot better. So I like the Bucks here if they're able to get Giannis Antetokounmpo back. Brian, am I crazy?
I don't think so because I haven't loved the way the Knicks have looked as of late. And coming off a performance where, I mean, the Clippers look like they can just get whatever they want inside the paint late in the game. They were just getting to the rim. It felt like whenever they felt like it. Karl-Anthony Towns obviously has a lot to do with that. Giannis is smart. He's going to take advantage of that if he's healthy. I will note that as of when we're recording this, which is obviously at nighttime, props just came out for this game. And Giannis does have some stuff listed. So that gives you an indication of where things may go. If Giannis does play, I probably would lean Bucks here also. The Knicks just without Jalen Brunson. And now they have a real question at point guard because Cameron Payne is injured all of a sudden. Deuce McBride is out. Like Tyler Kolek, who wasn't getting minutes until a few games ago, may start. Or at least we'll see significant minutes again. He hasn't played 20 minutes yet, but he's around there, 18, 19 minutes a game over the last 3. And he can do one thing really, really well, and that's pass the ball. Like, he can find guys. He can come into a game and get 8 assists in 19 minutes. But he can't score yet, and he will be targeted on defense. So it's another area that you can just target the Knicks from a defensive standpoint, which is worrisome.
Yeah. And Brook Lopez is still that dude. There's a lot of guys in the Bucks I like. Not Kyle Kuzma, but there's a lot of guys in the Bucks I like. Kyle, you got thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I like the play there. I do think I'm with you guys. I think Giannis plays. I think, like you mentioned, the injury is more so of a spot to rest there. I will say Tyler Kolek does more than just pass the ball. He's also great at providing memes at post-game conferences with his barbecue chicken quote. So got to give him props there.
That's
so
right.
yeah, so I'm kind of excited to see him in a full complement of minutes. We do have him projected to start right now, so I'm guessing we're going to see him play at least mid-20s minutes. He had 7+ assists in 3 straight games, so I guess a quick shout there for maybe DFS or maybe an assist drop there. But overall, yeah, I do like the Bucks play here for sure.
I'm taking the Jazz plus 16.5. And I get it. I understand why this number is what it is. I'm just telling you that the Nuggets are overrated in power rating. Like, they're just not that good. This team, let's just start here. When they're favored by double digits this season, they are 10-2 straight up, 5-7 against the spread. So they're 42% against the spread this season. When they're favored by double digits. The Jazz are on a back-to-back. The Jazz are tanking. The Jazz are going to play a lot of. This is going to be an awful game. Here's the problem. Okay, so I looked up amongst all teams when they lose. So when you lose, right, and your defense should be bad when you lose because you lost. You didn't play well. The opponent scored more than you. The Nuggets have the 29th ranked defense in the NBA amongst all teams when they lose. So when they lose, they're worse than teams like the Wizards defensively when they lose. Okay, but you know what? There's still a team on pace to win. They're 50 games. They're still really good. So what's the defensive rating when they win? Yeah, it's 29th. They have no floor defensively. The Denver Nuggets have no floor on defense, which means that the Utah Jazz, with whomst ever they're going to roll out there onto that floor tomorrow night, are still going to find ways to put up points, and this game will be closer than you think. I might lose this in fourth quarter with a run that puts them up 25. I'll risk it. The Nuggets haven't been good this season at home. The Nuggets haven't been good versus teams under 500. The Nuggets haven't been good when favored by double digits. I object to this line on principle. It is just too high, so I will grab the 16.5 with whatever is left of the Utah Jazz. And those are your best bets for Friday in the association. Devin Booker under 7.5 assists. Naz Reid over 12.5 points. The Suns plus 7.5. Put them together for a plus 700 same game parlay at Bet365. Milwaukee Bucks plus 1 if Giannis Antetokounmpo plays or whatever the number settles at. The Jazz plus 16.5. Nick Richards, make a pass challenge over 0.5 assists, and Jordan Hawkins over 15.5 points from Kyle. Thanks for joining us. You can catch all of these picks in the Action Network app. Make sure to check out youtube.com/the Action Network. Catch out more of our content. Support us. Support the folks that help you. If you like this podcast, I got a lot of folks that have been hitting me up being like, I love buckets. Let us know by leaving a 5-star review on the podcast or giving us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Support the show. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, Brady Rubino, Gifford Gould over at the video team. We'll see you guys again on tomorrow for Brandon Anderson and Jim Turvey on the Friday episode, and then Monday back with the Future Jays. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.